They've got music playing in the parking lot. That's crazy. I'm in a mall and they've got mall music playing in the parking lot. That's fucking class, man. Doesn't get more classy than that. Okay, my pocket's done up? No, good. Look at that. I was just getting you ready on the bike and I'm like, oh, last minute pocket check. 2 of my pockets are unopened because they're all zippered, eh? They're like motorcycle pockets. The one with my house keys was unzipped and the one with my GPS was unzipped, and that one was my jacket side pocket, so it really was a good chance of it being able to fall out. This is a scooter parking lot. I like parking my motorcycle in these scooter parking lots because for one thing, it's the only motorcycle in here, so it feels nice. And for another thing, it's an enclosed space, so really loud. And then I like to scare myself by drag racing. I was thinking I should, for the video, I'd say, well, turning right on the red is illegal, but if I go up on the sidewalk, and then I just jump off the sidewalk over there, that's totally legal. And then as I was thinking it, somebody else does it. I'm getting old. This light is purposely being long just to mock me for not jumping the sidewalk. And when I finally do get fed up and go to jump the sidewalk, before I even jump it, the light will turn green, just to mock me further. High-speed riding today. I was up on the highway. I had the needle buried, literally. Not literally. What does that mean? Yeah, well, I maxed it out. I maxed it out and I had some to go, so the needle was all the way buried, and I was still climbing. My bike buries the needle easily. It gets right up to its maximum speed, pulling all the way, and then when it gets to its maximum speed, it still continues to pull. And in the mirrors. Oh yeah, I bent my mirror today. Okay. Hey guys, M13 here. I'm going for a night ride, something I don't normally do, and we should have a bit of traffic because it's not rush hour, but it's not that far from rush hour either. I had an interesting day. I went out to see my friend Sean. He's the guy that saves dogs. Maybe I should put this as a follow-up to those videos, because it's kind of crazy. He says that the guy he really believes in the power of positive thought. And he was saying to me everything always kind of seems to work out, and you know what? I kind of believe in that too, but I believe that everything always kind of works out in the end. I feel that. I guess it's just there's been some a lot of things in my life happen, and when they happen, it might seem like a bad thing, or it might seem, I might not be able to see the positive side of it, but in the end, everything always seems to work out, and it always seems like the things that happened in the past happened for a reason. For example, one crazy example was like me getting married to my wife. You know, my marriage is hell, but then people say, oh, well, you know, why'd you marry in the first place? But the funny thing is I don't regret marrying in the first place because I'm getting totally off topic. What happened was, she got pregnant, and then she said herself, like, don't worry about it. We don't need to get married. But I didn't like the idea of my son being born out of wedlock, so it was my idea. And then we got married. And then a few months after we got married, my working visa that I'd had for like, you know, for 13 years, for 12 years, that, you know, I'd already been living in Taiwan for 12 years on a working visa. And then all of a sudden it got canceled. After 12 years it got canceled, which means that I had, like, Taiwan would have kicked me out. I was losing my Taiwan visa after 12 years. And after buying all this furniture and vehicles and all this stuff, it didn't matter. I didn't have a visa anymore. They weren't going to renew my work visa. But it was funny because I was like, oh, well, I just got married 2 months earlier, so I can just switch over to a marriage visa. And I could have, you know. Like, when I got married, I didn't want or need a marriage visa because I already had a working visa, and I'd already been using it for 12 years straight, so, you know, a visa was the last thing on my mind. But then once I got married, just a couple months later, and this is unrelated, they didn't cancel my working visa because I got married. Maybe some of you were thinking that. It was, they changed the rules about what was accepted and what isn't, and kind of like that. They needed some more stuff from me, and I didn't have it, so they, yeah. So it was just the timing was, you know, if I didn't get my wife pregnant, then I would have. Just a few months later, I would have been kicked out of the country, and I would have lost, like, my motorcycle and all my stuff, and you know, that would have been. And my YouTube channel. And back in those days, I don't know. But back in those days, I wasn't making enough money off of YouTube to support myself or anything. So I would have, like, YouTube wasn't a very. It was a fun hobby, but it wasn't. You know, it wasn't a very serious hobby. So I would have been. You know, like, everything would have ended. My whole life, I would have been kicked out of the country. I probably would have stopped. I wouldn't have had a motorcycle. Probably would have stopped making videos. If I moved back to Canada, I wouldn't have a driver's license or anything. So I probably would have had to, like, and then I wouldn't have had money to buy a new motorcycle. It would have been insane. So it was as if my wife getting pregnant was, like, part of everything just working and stuff. That was what it said to me. And there's other things like that too. Just, it seems like things always happen for a reason, kind of like that. And then Sean, I highly doubt I'm uploading this. Sean, it's crazy because he doesn't have. His sanctuary does not have, like, any steady income per se. Like, he gets donations here and there, and every once in a while they'll do, like, something. And he says it's normally just, like, he'll get a random donation, like, every once in a while that'll just keep him afloat. But he says he pretty much lives hand to mouth. And I think, I'm not exactly sure what that expression means. He used it, and I was like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, what does that mean? I think it means you get paid, and then immediately you just use it to, like, buy food and you put it in your mouth or something. Like, you don't really save anything. It just goes. Or maybe what does it mean, hand to mouth? I live hand to mouth. It means everything you take in your hand, you just quickly put it in your mouth like a fucktard? I don't know. So yeah, evidently Sean has issues with putting things in his mouth. Although I couldn't get him to. So yeah, and then he kind of confided to me when the camera wasn't off. I don't think it was a secret that the sanctuary only has $300 to their name right now, and that might be him as well. It might be. I'm not sure about that. He just said that, like, in the bank he has, because the sanctuary pretty much is him. There's no one else, you know. Like he had a couple of workers that were helping him, and then they recently had to. Actually, I think he had one. He had one steady worker, and then she got an offer to like go to Australia for a year to do something. So, and you know, it's a great opportunity. So she took it. So he had one. It was him and one other person, and the other person left. So now it's like just him. It's just literally it's one guy taking care of 100 dogs, 6 giant pigs, squirrels, rabbits, a hedgehog. And he's a bunch of cats. He's got a room full of cats. You know, it's one guy doing all that. And then on top of that, he like, you know, tries to do charity, like have charity, try to raise charity and do this. And he does all the rescues himself. So when you know, like taking care of all those dogs and all those animals, and then when there's a phone call that some dog somewhere is caught with its foot in a trap or something, and there's blood everywhere, he goes and saves it. It's crazy how much he does. Oh, and speaking of which, recently someone was accusing him of being a bad guy because they left a dog. They were leaving the country. They gave him a dog, and they told him that he would just need to like watch it for a couple of days, and then they would have someone come to pick it up because they were going to fly it over to America. So he's like, okay. And then they gave him the money. They gave him enough money to like get the dog flown out when the person, like as a passenger, as cargo. So you need someone else. If you fly a dog by itself, it's super expensive. If you fly a dog accompanied by a person, it's fairly inexpensive. So, and then the person that was supposed to come pick up the dog, take it to the airport or whatever, didn't come. And then Sean told them that, well, he can't board the dog for free because he runs a boarding facility as well. The dog's not a rescue. He generally just rescues like needy dogs. It's like if you want, you know, if you see a dog, like a cute, healthy dog that needs rescuing, and you phone him, he might, you know, chances are he's not going to come because there's cute, healthy dogs roaming around everywhere in Taiwan. But if it's hurt, or if it's sick, or if it's in desperate need of help, you know, those are the dogs that he helps. He doesn't help the easy dogs. He helps the ones that are in desperate need. So what I've done a few times is when I see like a really cute, healthy dog in my area, and I form a bond with it, I cut off one of its legs. And then I phone Sean, and I'm like, yeah, this dog's got a bad car, one of his legs are ripped off, and he's there an hour later to save the dog, and then the dog lives a long, healthy life at a sanctuary, and I'm like, yes. But you know, not everyone's as smart as me. So, what was the point? So anyways, yeah, they dropped off this like healthy dog, and then they like, you know, gave him some money, and then what ended up happening was the dog sat there for like months, and so the money that she gave him, he used it for boarding for the dog, because it wasn't a dog that he rescued. It wasn't a dog that he normally would rescue. It's a dog that has an owner, and the owner is just not being productive and finding a way home for it. And then the person ended up getting like really, and then finally, I think she did find a person, but it was like months later, and she's like, yeah, okay, just give them all the money I gave you, and they'll take the dog home for me. And he's like, the money you gave me has been used up. I gave you like half the regular price for boarding, and that money's been going towards your dog's food and whatnot. And then she's like, what? And then she got all angry, and he has the emails. He told her from the very beginning, like he stated in the beginning, okay, it's this much money if you keep your dog here, you know. And she planned on keeping her dog there just a few days, and the rest of the money for the flight. But the dog ended up staying months, so you know, common sense dictates the money's going to go towards the boarding. And she's like, no, give him all the money I gave you, and then he'll give you. She's like, the money that you gave me is gone. It's you know, it's for your dog's food and this and that. Anyways, yeah, and then she tried to like turn everyone against him, and then some of her people were saying, you just care about. They were insulting him, saying that he was a businessman and he just cared about the money. And these things are hilarious. Like, he lives mouth to foot, and is like he was saying, like he sleeps animals. He doesn't actually have a bedroom or an apartment or a TV. He sleeps in the room that the cats sleep in. Like, there's a little house next to a sanctuary, but the inside of that house is like for dogs that need to be quarantined because they're sick or they just had surgery or something and they can't roughhouse with the other dogs. And then there's cat rooms and stuff. Like, the actual house is all storage for animals as well. So he sleeps in the room. He says he sleeps in the cat room. So he sleeps in a room with like 30 cats, and it's, you know, like he couldn't like bring a girl home or anything like that. He doesn't even have a house. His whole life is saving animals, and then people are trying to accuse him of being just in it for the money. So anyways, yeah, so with all this in mind, you know, check the video description. There's a link to donate. He said that every once in a while, like, and I didn't know that, like, every once in a while on his Facebook, he'll write, someone donated this much money, or someone donated that much money, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And I think usually when I donate money, or when someone else donates money through me or whatever, you know, like when my fans donate money, sorry, my viewers, when my viewers donate money, he ends up getting like, you know, like $1,000 or something, a couple thousand. And I thought, oh, that's kind of small compared to some of the big donations he's gotten in the past. But in actuality, he says if he gets $1,000 US, that's a big deal to him, because, you know, as of right now, his whole bank account is $300, and he's got 100 dogs to look after. But he just focuses on like positive thought and all that, and he says, you know, like he's still getting by. Like he says it's not, you know, his bank account being close to empty is not an uncommon thing, and then some unexpected donation will come in, but it's still a very stressful way to live. It'd be much nicer if we could just get a bunch of donations, more of a steady flow or whatnot, supporting, sponsoring, and then it can get to the point where he actually has, you know, like a few months in advance, so that way he doesn't have to worry about everything as much. Anyways, this video is way too long and all over there. I'm tired. I've been riding my Ninja since 10 o'clock this morning, and it's nighttime now. Later, guys.